Hey, Shane?
No.
Have you seen Boogie Nights?
No.
Well, Breck,
Yeah, Spencer.
have you seen Boogie Nights?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Well... Let's get boogie with it, everybody.
Let's
Can we
get boogie with it.
I love boogieing. One thing about me I've always said is that I love to boogie,
Can't
and
get her-
especially
Can't
at night.
stop talking about it. It's kind of weird.
Can't get her to stop boogieing
He
either.
can't get me off that dance floor.
I'm not saying an intervention is the worst.
Can't stop
Um,
with the boogie board.
Yeah. With the boogie board.
That's
Nobody's
the Boogie
used
Nights
a-
remake where they're on a beach.
Yeah.
It's
Boogie
the
days.
Boogie.
That's part of
that
the
was my
trilogy.
letterboxed review of this movie before we get into introducing the guest and stuff. My review was I can't wait for Paul Thomas Anderson to make his trilogy Boogie Nights, Boogie Days, Boogie Mornings.
Fucking A.
I'm
Love that
really
movie.
excited for Boogie Mornings personally.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast, Breck, my wonderful, wonderful girlfriend.
That's me.
Who showed me Boogie Nights earlier this year, and then now we both showed Shane Boogie Nights.
It's the Boogie
Yeah.
Nights pyramid.
It is the Boogie. It's a pyramid scheme now. Each
It's
of
a
us has to go show 3 new people Boogie Nights.
It is.
It's a
And then
boogie
they'll show
level
through-
marketing scheme.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's my kind of MLM.
How many boogie puns are we getting in on this episode?
So many.
Many more. Many more.
Where's Booger? He can come be a
Oh,
boogie.
he's in
Dang
a
it.
different
He's
room.
boogieing
Sorry
in
to
the
the
other
podcast
room.
listeners, all of you.
Mostly the watchers, because you're the ones we like.
Yeah, fuck listeners.
That's me.
Yeah.
I watch it.
You're the only one.
I do. I go through. Well, I listen first, and
Yeah.
then I figure out where I want to comment, and then I go to the YouTube video, and I'm like, these are my thoughts on the matter at hand.
It's that one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's our very first one on YouTube has like 12,000 views, and they all came from like Indonesia,
Word.
which is strange because it's being recommended from Indonesian dubs of the Fast Furious movies, which is
Hey,
cool.
There you go.
Hey, when we blow up, it's going to be because of that.
Yo, I got a huge following in Indonesia, fam.
It's not
yeah.
come to Brazil. It's come to Indonesia.
Yeah.
Um,
Indonesian VidCon. We're gonna be the headliners of
You start your
Indonesian.
Patreon, and everyone is from Indonesia.
I mean, hey,
What language do they speak in Indonesia?
Indonesian, I believe.
Word.
bars.
I believe
Word.
they speak Indonesian.
I was gonna say, I was like, you have to learn the language,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if they spoke like Hindi.
I am stupid, so I have no clue. See, we need to learn about you, our our huge fan base.
Before coming on, Breck was like, "I'm worried I won't sound smart," and I was like, "Breck, if you listen to the podcast,
Yeah.
it's kind
You
of
guys sound
it's kind of the
smart.
whole thing."
You guys sound smart.
We did like
I always
5 minutes on boogie boards
Yeah.
just to start out with. So.
I don't
yeah,
know.
but that was part of that's really intelligent. If you guys are really about to shame boogie boarders at this moment in time,
When was the last time? I don't think a single person has stepped on a boogie board since 1998.
We just made an enemy of the boogie board community.
I definitely boogie boarded in 2011.
Fuck boogie boards and fuck boogie boarders.
Damn.
That is a hill I will fight and die on. Is my agenda to end all boogie boarding.
You're running for mayor on the platform that no one in our city is ever allowed to be on a boogie board again. Even
I
if
am
they're
not-
out of town, you'll know. We are
I'm not
monitoring
stopping
social
at
media.
mayor. I am not stopping at governor. I am going all the way to the top.
Shane
Vice
2024.
president.
Yeah.
And my platform for vice president is end all boogie boarding.
Dick Cheney moment.
Hell yeah.
That guy was awful.
Speaking of dick,
Yeah,
Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights. Yeah, we should talk about this movie. Boogie Nights, good movie. First impression,
Great movie.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I would love to hear y'all's, or specifically your history with the movie, and then obviously Spencer, we got a little snippet of your history with it. But
So, my history with the movie. The first time I saw it, I was really lucky. It was around the time that Licorice Pizza came out, which I think is a great movie. It has its flaws, but I think it's a great movie. You have to have media literacy to watch that movie, which not a lot of people have.
You mean that dead, extinct thing?
You know that thing that doesn't exist? They found bones of it the other day.
Yeah.
So my history is that they, at Alamo Draft House, me and the bestie, they were doing a bunch of PTA showings around that time. and I'd heard a lot of good things about Boogie Nights. At the time, I didn't know Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, was in it, which was really devastating. I found that out the day of the showing that Mark Wahlberg was in it, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Truly devastating.
You were the fucking like all the gifts of people just like falling over.
Yeah,
and
I was
crying,
like, I spent money. That was before they had season pass, because I was one of the first season pass holders. Let me be so clear. I have been in here, okay?
Pop off.
But it was before that, so I was like, I just spent like $10-15 to give Mark Wahlberg. I was so mad about it. But they were showing it in, is it 72 or 75 millimeter?
35.
35?
I think it was 35.
Was it 35?
It would probably be 35.
Who knows what I know.
I doubt very seriously they'd be showing it in 70 mil.
I mean, I wish
doubt-
there was an IMAX version of Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
In my heart of hearts, there should be one.
Hey, with
But
AI, now we can do it.
I think we should. I think we should. Me personally, I
No.
want the IMAX cut of Boogie Nights.
But never with AI, please.
No,
God.
never with AI.
You really want to see? You really want to see it that big? You really want it that big? You really want it like 4 stories tall?
I saw it huge because so I saw it in
You saw it huge? Like, was it massive?
It's really big in a theater. Okay,
Guys, we saw Mark Wahlberg's fake penis, so
It's
that
a
is going to be a part of
prosthetic.
that's why I said fake penis.
There's no way of avoiding that part of
There's
this discussion.
no way of avoiding that. The end of that movie is maybe one of the best endings of all time because it essentially rips off Raging Bull and then shows you a prosthetic penis.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I saw it in 35 millimeter. I saw it kind of smack in the middle. When we saw North by Northwest, I actually realized, I was like, oh, I'm in the exact same theater, in the exact same seat. Where I really, I sat there and I was like, Boogie Nights. So I like to feel like the spirit of Boogie Nights was with me as we saw that movie, which is good, but it's not, Boogie Nights. That's really I kind of just saw it and immediately fell in love with it. It's kind of the moment it goes Boogie Nights and then Best of My Love by The Emotions starts playing. You're like, oh my God, this is the best movie I've ever seen.
Let me ask you, what was your history with like other PTA movies? Had you seen anything else? Were you aware of anything else? Like, what was? Yeah, that's the other question, because this comes like in a weird spot in how many of his movies I've
It
seen.
does.
For me,
It's so. I really think maybe I had only seen Licorice Pizza.
okay.
So I kind of had this misconceived notion that all of his movies are going to be 70s period pieces, and I was not disappointed because I don't think I've watched a single PTA movie so far that I haven't thought was like brilliant, incredible, amazing. But I was like, but I really liked your soundtrack picking, Paul. I really liked what you were doing with all the you had your finger on the pulse. So
He was fingering on something.
Heyo.
we'll
Nothing but net.
flag on the play.
Nothing but net or low hanging fruit. I don't know which one, but
I'll show you some low hanging fruit.
woo.
Heyo.
Yeah, no, I had really only seen Licorice Pizza. I did not have any notions about this movie. I heard it was going to be like kind of dark, but it's also really good. And so I just truly was not prepared for how much I was going to like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was going to like it, but I did not know I was going to like truly fall in love with it. And then after that, I got really into PTA. So shortly after that is when I saw.
I love the Parent Teacher Association.
Yeah.
Dude, boy,
Weird that you
howdy.
got into that.
Do I love a good.
I love giving back to the community. I love dealing with parents. No, I saw There Will Be Blood shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
I was just truly so obsessed with that. What were the other PTAs I watched? I still haven't seen his first movie.
You seen Punch Drunk Love?
I have seen Punch Drunk
Okay.
Love. I watched Punch Drunk Love.
Movies that
and
make you feel crazy.
That movie makes me feel crazy, especially because I was already separately into the song He Needs Me by Shelley Duvall, which is from the Popeye movie, which I've never seen. Never seen it.
You just
A
named
lot
off
of
so many things.
So much context in that very short amount of time.
So the movie Popeye,
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall plays Olive Oil, and she sings
Yes.
a song called "He Needs Me," which I
Yes.
love because that song makes me feel like a crazy person.
Much
and
like the
I was
movie.
going through a
Punch Drunk
moment
Love.
last year where I just felt like a crazy person for most of it, and then I turned on Punch Drunk, and I was like, I think this song is in Punch Drunk Love, and the way they use that song in Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah.
So I saw
Shifties.
that. They show every year at Alamo, they show Phantom Thread on New Year's because there's a big New Year's scene in it that's like super important. Not super important to the plot, but like it's thematic. Phantom Thread is I was about to say Phantom Thread is probably my second favorite, but I really love There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
I think There Will Be Blood is like it is crazy what he does in that movie. Not to talk about another movie while we're trying to talk about Boogie Nights, but
Yeah.
People are
How
always
dare
like-
you step on Boogie Night's toes like
but
this?
people are like, oh, PTA should make a horror movie. And I'm like, he made There Will Be Blood. You're just going to have to
That's
deal
not
with it.
untrue.
Fair.
I think literally that movie ended and I was like, that was a horror movie about capitalism. But so is Boogie Nights.
I was going to say, so is every movie about capitalism.
So is... yeah. Period. Period.
King.
In terms of like me watching this movie, I had seen There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love, The Master, Licorice Pizza. I'm trying to think if I've seen any of his others. I'm sure it'll pop. One will pop on. And then I watched this one. And I don't know, like, he's a tough filmmaker to, and Shannon, I'm curious what your opinion on this, because I don't know which ones you've seen, but he's a tough filmmaker to like put into a hole, because all of his movies do feel like PTA movies. Like he's hard to pin down, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
Because all of his movies feel like PTA movies, but they're all so different. Like even his two from the 70s, I would say like Boogie Nights isn't a plot movie, but there's definitely more plot than Licorice Pizza, which is a vibes movie. You know what I mean? Which is a hangout movie. But like then There Will Be Blood is very much a movie about something. You know, The Master's very much about something. He's interesting, and I like him. And Boogie Nights is so fun for so long, and then so not fun for so long.
And that's the best part.
God,
That's the best part.
But Shane, what are your thoughts on both PTA, but also Boogie Nights? Did you boogie? Did it get you to boogie?
I mean, there was certainly boogieing to be had. So my history with PTA is I watched There Will Be Blood like a year or two after it came out, and then it was my favorite movie for like a very, very long time.
Correct.
And it is still one of my favorite movies. I love that movie very much. But I had not delved into the rest of his catalog at all until very recently. I went and saw Licorice Pizza. I saw Punch Drunk Love. I have seen... I know I've seen others. I've seen the several of his music videos, like a bunch of the ones he's done with Haim. The Radiohead music video for Daydreaming, which is really, really good. I haven't seen his like short film special thing that he did with Tom York for the release of his record. I haven't seen that. I really want to. So like I don't have like I haven't seen like Phantom Thread. I haven't seen like Magnolia. I have the Master.
Magnolia. I forgot about Magnolia.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Okay.
It's
good.
fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Interesting.
A lot of people think that's his magnum opus, but it's fine.
I spoiler alert for my feelings on this movie a little bit. I still think There Will Be Blood is his best movie.
Hey.
I think that movie's phenomenal.
I think that's a very valid take, though.
Yeah.
Like they're two so like it.
They're epics in different ways.
It's like Fincher's a weird example because everyone thinks of Fincher as the serial killer guy.
Yeah.
And he like is, but also a bunch of his movies are not about serial killers.
Yeah, like Zodiac.
solos.
This like has nothing to do with the serial.
That's a movie about journalism.
Yeah, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is about a girl with a dragon tattoo who isn't a serial killer.
No, not at all. But you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's tough to compare some of those like because this one's about Seven versus Zodiac. It's like they have a lot of similar DNA versus like There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights don't really share all that
there's
much.
so little through line when it comes to
the movies he makes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree.
On the movies he makes or the
I don't know if I agree that specifically There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights don't have a through line.
Well, I think from
Speak on that.
the filmmaker who made it, they do. But I'm curious what you think.
Because we kind of also just briefly touched on it. They're both about capitalism in their own funky, special little way. But and it's been a while since I've seen There Will Be Blood, and I've only seen it once. So this could totally be a misreading of that. But I feel like There Will Be Blood also kind of follows that Goodfellas format of the first half of it. You're like, this is pretty cool. Like, I think you kind of, not that I think you ever truly have fun in There Will Be Blood, but the first half of that movie is so...
There's like a propulsion to what he's doing.
Like it's
he's
very,
good at his
it's
job
magnetic.
And
it's like, it's this just like, frenetic is the word I'm looking for, where it just does not stop moving in the way that the first half of Boogie Nights just does not stop moving at all. And then the second half really has to stop. I think the second half of both of those movies is a lot about a man, and they're both at very different points in their life because Dirk ends Boogie Nights at very early in his life still. And obviously at the end of / middle of There Will Be Blood, he's a much older man.
Yeah.
I forget his name. I'm so sorry, guys. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Plainview.
Daniel
Plainview. I was like, doesn't he have... I'm like, that's funny. Yeah, so I feel like at the end of both of those movies, they're men looking back on their life and on this thing they've gone through. and they're either making peace with it or they're not. I think Dirk is making peace with a lot of things at the end of Boogie Nights. I don't know that Daniel Playview is making a lot of peace with his life.
Yeah, you know what? There's some. I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying on that, especially from a character standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, thoughts?
I did not read Boogie Nights at all as like an anti-capitalist anything. So I'd be very interested to hear why it is an anti-capitalist piece.
Well, it's again, me bringing up Goodfellas again, because a lot of this movie is very heavily inspired by Scorsese. Scorsese?
I am not surprised, because there are about 6 oneers in this movie.
There are about 6
like 10-minute long
all
oneers.
of them are that fucking good.
Yeah.
That freaking good. I'm sorry. I was trying really hard not to swear to upset my mother.
We literally started this episode talking about how a 35-foot tall dong is going to be pretty hard.
I'm trying not to upset my mother. I might show her this.
Sorry, Breck's mom.
Mama, I'm so sorry.
We love you, and we're sorry.
Child. I'm a perfect child. I've never done anything wrong, and you have to remember that. It's not true. I almost failed out of college. One time.
It was twice, I bet. It sounds like it was twice.
It was my first.
It was twice, dude.
Semester.
This dude almost failed out twice.
It was my first semester. They give you a lot of leeway. They're like, okay, you're clearly struggling. Get some help. Get some help, tall child.
Get some help. Stop it.
So,
get some help.
Because obviously Goodfellas, the first half of Goodfellas, you're like, I should be in the mob. And then the second half, you're like, I should not be in the mob. And the first half of Boogie Nights almost convinces you that you should have been in like the San Fernando Valley in the 70s, just
hanging out,
just vibing.
Just vibing. And then the second half, you're like, oh, all of these people are on so many drugs. In a lot of ways, it is a very gently reverential movie, but it is also not sitting around to be like, what a wonderful time, because it's like it was cool for a bit, and then it was like it was not cool for a bit. That's not very eloquent,
because it's just in terms of like the capitalism thing, like I view this movie as way more like about artistic integrity in a weird place.
100%.
You know what I mean?
This movie is about PTA being like, and can I step on that point really quickly?
Yeah.
So some real life context for that is that PTA's first movie, Heart 8, was very much butchered by the studio from his original vision. It was very much, and I haven't seen it. I've been really wanting to see it. It's one of my last ones. I still have to see that, The Master, and Inherent Vice.
Oh, I've seen Inherent Vice. I am the one human being on the planet. I saw that shit in theaters.
You did that.
You
supported art.
I completely forgot about it because I didn't like it very much.
Isn't it also in the 70s?
Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe he doesn't. It's also because it's the time he grew up in. So he's like one of those guys.
Yeah.
But oh god, what was the point?
It feels like every 10 years he makes a new 70s movie.
And I'm like, serve it up. I'm ready.
Right here.
Come on, lay it.
Another.
I'm like, I need to get all of these soundtracks on vinyl. Like, I have the Licorice Pizza soundtrack on vinyl. I bought it. And it's technically a collector's edition because there's a typo on it. So I could probably sell that for like $800.
Sick. That's actually
But
dope.
I won't, because I love that soundtrack. And the typo is on my favorite song on it, which is Let Me Roll It by Wings, which is probably top 5 songs of all time.
Shout out to
the point
Wings.
I was making? Shout out to Wings. Shout out to
first movie, butchered by the studio.
So Heart 8 was butchered, but got really off the point there. Heart 8 was butchered by the studio. PJ was really pissed about it. It was his first movie. He felt like he couldn't do anything he wanted to do, like as a young filmmaker.
Yeah.
As I'm sure
as a 24-year-old.
Yeah, because he's 26 when he made Boogie Nights.
Y'all are less than 26. Shut the fuck up. I'm 27. I'm about to be 28.
Well, the movie was 27 when he was 27 when it came out. So.
But he's 26 when he made it.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
he really, a lot of Boogie Nights he refused to compromise on, period, a lot, because
I can feel that.
Heart 8 was still, I think, a modest success enough that they were like, okay, but there was still a lot of back and forth. Like the studio for Boogie Nights in particular was like, we need you to narrow this movie down to the scope of Jack and Dirk. And he was like, I refuse. I won't do that. This is a story about a family. They're all a family. They're not one member of the family is more important than the others. The main center of the story is Jack and Dirk, but they're not the only part of the story.
Yeah.
So a lot, and then, of course, that really important scene where they're talking with what's his bucket, who comes in and he's like, well, everyone's switching to video. And that's, I think, the first time in the movie that you notice that there's film grain and that this movie has been shot on film for this very specific purpose. Because then there's Jag going like,
I'm a filmmaker.
I don't put this shit on video. Like, so much of this movie is PTA kind of establishing so early that he's not going to let people like stop him from making what he wants to make.
That's what I mean. Is it's just like to me it reads more as that versus like capitalism, because I think there's like undertones of I can see undertones of that type of thing, right? Where they're like, this is where the industry's going, so be damned with everything else. Let's follow the money. It's like I get that, but also Jack is also very much in this to make money as much as he is to be an artist. Like
true.
And I think that's true.
But where does that get him?
He still has a sick ass house.
Back to me. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Mark Wahlberg's character arc in this movie.
Yep. Oh my God, is Mark Wahlberg Thanos in this movie?
He is. Mark Wahlberg hates this movie, and I love it.
Fuck Mark Wahlberg.
That's my point. Is he hates it, and so I love
That's
that
what
this
Julianne
is
Moore
such
said.
a good movie.
Someone told Julianne Moore that Mark Wahlberg regretted being in this movie, and she said why it made him famous.
Straight. Like,
It's
it
so
made him
funny.
famous, and it's so fucking good.
It took him from being a shitty what musician, rapper, whatever, like, to being an actual actor. And he's been in some amazing movies since then.
He's worked with Scorsese. Like,
shut up, Mark.
He's worked with PTA.
Shut up, Marky Mark.
Scorsese. Who else?
Just those two.
Just those two, but two of our greatest
David
living
O.
filmmakers.
Russell, which is we don't even know. Yeah. Not to name drop that guy. Anyway, Shane, what are some of your? You hint that you say that There Will Be Blood is definitely your favorite.
Yep.
How do you feel about Boogie Nights though? Like, do you enjoy it? Do you appreciate? Like, where do you fall on the liking it spectrum?
I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a movie that is a one-watch movie.
Yeah, I agree.
There
with that.
is so much going on.
Yeah.
It is, and like we talked about earlier, it is so frenetic, and it is so like the pace moves with this boogie that hey, there it is. That like I feel like I just need to watch it again, kind of knowing what's headed in front of me so I can appreciate where I'm at now, that kind of thing. Like overall, I thought it was very, very good, like incredibly well made. It makes me want to kill him to know that he was 26 when he made that movie. And just a absolutely phenomenal cast, like really hilarious at times, really like horrifying at other times. Like it is a very good movie, and I completely understand why it is what it is. I just need a second watch to appreciate it more, I think.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's a dense movie.
Yeah.
It's
I noticed new things, and this was like the fourth or fifth time I've watched it.
Yeah.
So
well, then can I ask you specifically, I think the three of us can talk about this movie from different angles. I think you can talk about the visuals, I can talk about the writing, and Breck can talk about the vibes.
I love a good vibe.
I'm more of a prosthetic penis kind of guy. So
well then how did you like the composition?
I studied that, dude.
One of the funniest shots of all time to me is when the first time, like, you don't see him, he's filming the porn scene or whatever, and he takes it out, and it cuts to all the people in the room, and the camera guy looks
literally
over,
everybody.
And then the camera guy tilts the camera down.
The way, I don't know the name of the actress that plays Becky, I forget her name, but her and John C. Reilly both going, and then John C. Reilly going. My God. And then they cut to Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's like sweating bullets.
He's like shaking with the boom mic.
He's like, I need him. I'm like, it's Mark Wahlberg. We can get you someone better.
Yeah.
We are in California in the 70s, and you're gay. We're going to find you somebody. They're all here. Go up the coast.
But that scene is topped with also one of the funniest cuts ever, where it's like he's done the thing, and they're like, we missed the shot of the thing happening. And Mark just goes, well, Jack, I can do it again if you need me to.
That's a really good impression. I hate how good you are at that.
I can do it again if you want me to.
I took a risk going for it.
You could do so few impressions, and that's the one you're good at.
AI is allowed this one time, but we're deep faking Spencer into every single shot Mark Wahlberg is in Boogie Nights now.
I'm in. But then it cuts to them at the party popping the bottle. The foam. It's so good.
This movie, because This movie's made by pervert, which is why it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why every Fincher movie's good.
That's why every single movie, not a bad kind of pervert, not a real pervert, the funky kind of pervert.
A cinema pervert.
A cinema pervert. Like
a boogie pervert.
Like some guy who was addicted to porn in his teens, aka Paul Thomas Anderson. And like, I want you to make this movie. It's like Quentin Tarantino and Feet. I'm like, you should be making this movie, you little weirdo.
Yeah.
Get into it. That's how I feel about every good movie. I'm like, so what's your problem? What's wrong with you?
What happened to you in your childhood?
I would love to know how your parents treated you. Was your father kind to you?
Yeah. What an out-of-pocket thing to say. Are you having a nervous breakdown? But like legitimately, I'm curious what you think of it visually speaking, because obviously it looks good. But is there stuff that like stuck out to you as
The Oneers?
The Oneers?
Like, there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And they're all 10 minutes long. And they're crazy. Like, they're fucking crazy. That first one, we're on the thing, and then it starts tilting out of nowhere, and then we're pulling back, and then we're on the street, and then we're walking in the thing, and then we're walking around the club. I'm like, God damn it, how long is this going to go?
Seamlessly introduces the whole fucking cast.
Yeah, it is insane.
They literally introduce 80% of the cast.
It's like that. The Booksmart has a party one that is so clearly cribbed from Boogie Nights, like,
which is so clearly cribbed from Goodfellas,
and then
which
he kissed me, which is from I Am Cuba.
Yeah.
Like you could just like.
Well, and PTA specifically said I Am Cuba inspired the pool oneer specifically, which is the best one.
Sure, okay.
The pool scene is so. As soon as John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg meet in this movie,
oh my God, I love them so. Also, John C. Reilly in this movie,
I know,
like,
guys.
So cute.
Like,
I love him so. Him and PTA need to do more because he cameos. He has an uncredited cameo in Licorice Pizza.
I just think John C. Reilly needs to do more, both comedy and
just
drama.
Everything.
I just think he's
so
a wonderful actor, and I love him a lot.
We need to talk about Kevin.
No, I haven't seen when you talk about Kevin.
He's the dad in that. He's really good.
And I really want to see the Sisters Brothers with him and Joaquin. I've heard that's very good.
Have you seen Chicago?
Yes.
He's also very good in Chicago.
He is very good in Chicago. Chicago's good.
You said Chicago. My brain just did the thing from
Chicago.
Victorious. Chicago. You know,
you just name dropped Victorious on the show.
Chicago.
Shane, was Victorious after your time?
Yes, actually. Get fucked.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. We'll catch you up. We'll do an
Old
episode.
Man. I'm kidding.
I actually don't think it was. I just didn't watch. You know what I didn't watch any of at all? Disney Channel. Disney Channel was never turned on. I didn't watch Sweet Life with Zach and Cody.
Valid. Well,
that was
like
our
Sweet
thing.
Life.
I didn't watch any of that shit. I don't know why.
That's
understand.
crazy. I wasn't allowed to watch Fairly Odd Parents because my mom said there was too much yelling. She said it was too loud.
That's the funniest.
She said it was too loud, and now I'm older, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course you don't want to hear a kid's TV show yelling all day long.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's
As
just
a kid,
really
I was like,
funny.
everyone thinks I'm lame because I don't watch Fairly Odd Parents. What really sets you apart of people in our general age is if you didn't watch SpongeBob, everyone's like, so what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
What's wrong with
The
you?
amount of people that I've like worked with people, I had friends with people that were like, yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob. It's like, why?
Because it's like weird and gross, and so parents freak out about it.
Me personally, I think SpongeBob is perhaps the blue velvet of children's television.
The blue velvet.
You know, the blue velvet, the Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, the Mulholland Drive.
I need an explanation
It's
of
just
this simile.
Lynchian.
I'm just
It's
trying
just
to.
Lynchian.
I was just name dropping David Lynch movies before I actually said David Lynch because I couldn't be like the David Lynch of. I'm like, who would?
It's so weird.
I think it was just good.
There are a lot of. Anyways, not to get on my soapbox.
Boogie Nights. My favorite.
This is a podcast. It literally just is a soapbox.
That's all. That's the whole reason
The
we started
point of this is soapbox.
That's true. I have so many things
The
to say.
point of
so
this
that's
is
great.
soapbox would be a great shirt. We need to remember that one.
First ever merch for What Is Us.
No,
Oh my God, me and Megan need to start a podcast where it's literally just us complaining about shit, and it's called "This Is what was the thing I just said? I already forgot.
This is our soapbox.
The point of this is soapbox.
The point of this is soapbox. I actually really like that. Me and Megan are starting that podcast. Check your podcatcher, coming soon.
I think that would be wonderful, and y'all should do that.
I would just get us started on Taylor Swift v. Beyonce. Oh my God, that'll be a year. That'll be a year-long discussion.
That's the first 52 episodes.
So this is how Taylor Swift weaponizes feminism against people who she doesn't like.
Damn.
Like, that's the truth.
I'm actually interested, but we'll
I
talk
am
about
interested.
that later.
She uses it when people are mean to her. She's like, that's so anti-feminist. It's like, no, you're just, fuck you. I hate Taylor Swift.
He's going to send the Swifties after you.
Damn.
No, he likes Taylor Swift just fine. Come after me. I can fight all of you.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Anyway, Boogie Nights. My favorite thing about this movie, and we talked about it after I watched it, because I think you're right, Shane. On a second viewing, you do get a lot out of it. You have fun looking forward to scenes and then dread others. Makes it for a very interesting experience. My favorite thing about this movie is it isn't like look at these people movie. They're all well-defined characters, and there's clearly so much empathy for all of them.
It does not look down on them in any way.
And I love that you described it as like a movie about a family, and I think that's so true. Like when he comes back at the end, the way they frame that when Mark Wahlberg comes back to Jack, and then he's like, Jack, I need you, and they frame it in a way where you don't see that it's Jack. You just see like the shoulder, and you almost expect, like I did at least. I don't know how you experienced this, or I almost expected Jack to have moved. And like he's not there and it's just some other guy, but then he just comes up and embraces him, and it's like a really tender moment.
It's sweet. It's a father and a son.
And then they just fall right back into the norm. Like, you know what I mean? Like
watching him fuck.
Why? Oh God. The number of jokes I could make and him choosing not to.
Okay, why? Okay, can we talk about the Oedipal nature of this movie?
Please do. Go take it away.
Oh yeah.
Why does he fuck his mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's like, he's my son, and then
it's
5 scenes earlier he was having sex with her. No one said it was
a super healthy family, but it is a family.
Okay, bars.
It is a family. They care about each other. No one said they care about each other correctly.
Yeah,
fair. But
they care about each other.
But it's the way he frames that too is crazy. I love. Not to be like PTA is one of our greatest living filmmakers, but he is.
He is.
I don't think anybody. I just think he is.
Not to be like. I mean, like there's a reason I talk about him, and I would say him and Scorsese are my 2 favorite directors. Like, period.
I think that's a very valid.
Them and Lynch are probably my trio. In the
is
sense
that your Mount Rushmore?
It is my Mount.
Who's your fourth?
Oh,
who's
my
your
fourth.
Who's your Mount Rushmore of filmmakers? Is questions we're asking every time somebody comes on the podcast.
Who's your Teddy Roosevelt?
My Teddy Rose. Oh God. Okay, so I said.
I
Lynch.
actually have no idea. If
Lynch,
Teddy Roosevelt's
Scorsese,
on Mount Rushmore,
PTA. My fourth. No, please. Oh God.
I don't even know yours, Spencer. This isn't a very.
Well,
interesting
it's hard because so many of my favorite movies are like one-offs from directors.
Uh-huh. No, we're talking director. We're talking oeuvre.
Should we give her some time to think about this? And
can I answer at the end?
And then we can do like a part of the B segment.
Yeah, okay. we'll call it the C segment.
The segment.
The C section.
segment.
No. The C segment.
segment.
Anyway,
is this a cautionary tale?
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say the point I was trying to make is when they have the kid call the house and he's calling for his mom, like her actual Amber Waves is like actual son. And they're like looking around, and Luis Guzman's like, sorry, some kid was looking for his mom. I love the way he delivers that line. Then he puts it down, and then you pan over, and the song like swells, and you see her like leaning up from the pile of coke she's sniffing. She has no idea that they were just calling for her, and they look at, and she and it pans to her looking out at Mark Wahlberg like jumping into the pool like a kid, and you like totally know in that moment she does not care about her real child anymore, and it's like this kid, and even the way they're framing the two of them. In the diner scene after they go to Hot Tracks the second time.
Yeah.
And Jack is giving his speech about how he's like, I'm going to make porn real, like a real movie, which has a lot of like real life context too, like Debbie Does Dallas and all that. But Deep Throat, I know about all sorts of things.
You said Deep Throat, and my brain immediately went to the Hellraiser character.
Mine immediately went to
You'll see.
The Watergate trial, or the Watergate stuff.
Did they mention that movie in Watergate?
No, the informant went by the name Deep Throat.
Oh, I bet after the movie. Well, there
we go.
But and so Jack is giving like Mark the spiel, and it kind of leans. The camera almost like leans over to just show her.
Yeah.
And then it goes and then it pans over to him and Roller Girl, and then it leans over to just show him.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that was the first time I noticed that this time, and I was like.
It's a really
That's
interesting.
genius.
See, that gave me very much like, I'm gonna fuck this kid, and then like later she fucks that kid, and then she's like, that child is my son now, and then she fucks him again.
Yeah, and then
she's
calls
like, I love him so much.
Like, and the Roller Girl's, will you be my mom? I'll say you be my mom. I will ask you, can you be my mom? And you'll say yes. Okay? Can you be my mom? And she's like, yes, honey. Like,
Yeah.
That seems like. Okay, sorry.
You were saying about a cautionary tale.
Is this movie a cautionary tale
About getting into the porn industry?
Because it's really amazing like life's great, and then it goes crashing to all hell and back, and then at the end it's like, nah, but we're back together, so everything's fine.
I don't know that it's a cautionary tale so much as it's just like a tale.
In
the
tale
sense,
of what kind of animal? Like
a dog.
Like a whale tail?
A puppy. A whale tail? That was a good one. High five.
I liked it.
I don't know that it is a cautionary tale. I'm really shifting around so much. I'm sorry. I don't know that it is a cautionary tale because I don't know that anybody learns a lesson.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know that anyone learns a lesson in that movie. You could argue that a lot of people learn the wrong lessons, like Buck, like Don Cheadle's character, like
steals the money
at the end, which to be
that's
fair,
one of my favorite scenes in this.
It is the first time you see that right after seeing that in the theater is maybe one of the most tense times that I've ever been in a movie theater in my entire life.
It's so clumsy. You know what I mean? Like it's one guy shoots one, he shoots another, and then it's a cautionary tale about gun violence for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
By the way, the donut shop safe code 696969.
PT.
It's one of my favorite details in inside the Bo Burnham's Inside is during sexting the AC is set to 69 degrees.
Yeah.
See, movies made by perverts.
Yeah.
Who's the best Paul Anderson? Paul Thomas Anderson, or the one who made the Mortal Kombat movie and all the
Event Horizon?
You can't. Paul W.S. Anderson.
He made Event Horizon.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he?
Positive about that?
Let me check that.
Because he made a lot of like the video game movies.
He's made he's been making Resident Evil movies for the past like 12 years.
Pause.
Until he just made the Monster Hunter movie.
Yes, also with
Mila Jovovich.
Paul W.S. Anderson. He directed
Holy
Event Horizon.
Pop off.
You know the problem with that?
Okay, the original Mortal Kombat fucks.
I was gonna say that's the problem. You can't start there. It's like the best video game movie ever.
Yeah.
Like, kind of not even kidding. That movie rules. It's so much fun. It has a great soundtrack. Mortal Kombat.
What are you talking about? The Assassin's Creed movie.
I still have never seen it.
I refuse to.
Really?
Sonic.
I not a refuse to. I'm just really disappointed because the same director made Macbeth with Michael Fassbender, and Macbeth with Michael Fassbender is a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
And it's just insane that they went from that to Assassin's Creed, and that movie was apparently garbage.
Yeah, I've heard
Duality
nothing but
of
awful things. Duality of Man.
You seen Tragedy of Macbeth?
Yes, I have.
Great film.
Phenomenal.
Great.
It will be on this.
That's we're doing a double feature with both Macbeths.
I'm very excited.
Are you
They are
really?
so different. It's not even
Sneak
funny.
peek from me. I brought that into existence.
I'm very excited about that. I'm really pumped. Specifically for Tragedy of Macbeth, because that movie looks like it's going to be visually insane.
Top
Both
10.
of them are.
Oh,
Both
really?
Of them are.
Yeah.
I've seen
Very
like
differently.
I've seen like
both
one
are.
sequence because I think you asked me at one point to watch one of the fight sequences from.
It's like literally the first sequence of the movie.
Is it? Didn't know that.
Yep.
You asked me to watch that, but I'm very excited to watch both of those movies because they seem cool.
Denzel has a moment in Tragedy of Macbeth that is very like King Kong ain't got shit on me.
It is very.
It's so good.
It is very. King Kong ain't got shit on me. That's
and it's
so
just
funny.
and it works anyways because that's so you're like, well, I've been on this journey with you, Denzel.
Dude, it's
Awesome.
Man,
I'm in.
That movie got snubbed of a lot of awards.
Yeah. Oh my God, so many.
Because so many people were like, I don't understand it, and I'm like,
oh my God, you idiot! Were you not made to watch or to read Macbeth in high school?
I had to read Romeo and Juliet.
I had to read both.
But, I did read Ham. I read
both.
Macbeth. Most people read Hamlet. I read Macbeth.
I read Hamlet also. I think
I read all four, baby.
Yeah.
And then I read Midsummer Night's Dream because I was in that shit.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Her. Who
I don't
play?
remember. I was one of the rude mechanicals, but I don't remember what my name was.
We can't all be stars.
I was going. They tried to cast me as the Fairy King guy, and I was like, "There's no
Oberon.
world. King Oberon, is that what you just said? Fucking egg. Thank you for remembering." They tried to cast me as that, and I was like, "There's no world where I'm remembering all those lines. I'm sorry." Oh, sorry. This is a brief aside. I told my director before I auditioned, I was like, "I don't really understand Shakespeare. I'm not going to be good in this audition." And she was like, "I'm sure you're going to do better than you think you will." And then I did not great in the audition. And she was like, "Yeah, you were right." I was like, "Fuck you!" Just because I was doesn't mean you tell me.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. That did suck.
Yeah. So like I got cast as one of the room mechanicals, and then the person who got cast as King Oberon quit, like wasn't able to do it, and so then she came crawling to me, saying like, "Will you do it?" And I looked through the script and I was like, "There is no world where I am remembering all of these lines. Like I know myself. No thanks." Like, not only will I not remember them, I don't know what any of them mean.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Nah, girl, let somebody else do it." And then the dude they cast was very good.
Boogie Nights.
This
has been a side.
See, but I feel like that's that in the nature of Boogie Nights,
in the nature of Paul Thomas Anderson,
in the nature of Paul Thomas Anderson hangout movies.
Yeah, because that movie is like Boogie Nights is such a human movie. There's so many moments in that movie that they wanted him to cut that he was like, no, I simply will not be doing that.
I think that standard for that is now just referencing the Barbie thing where she didn't want to cut the part or the like bus stop scene.
Yeah, where it's like, so then what is this movie about?
Yeah, I feel like that anytime somebody talks about a studio wanting something cut, that's what pops into my head now.
No, PTA has major studio beef.
Yeah.
How problematic are pieces of this movie? Is this movie seen as problematic in any way?
Not me.
Like, what are you thinking of?
I mean, specifically, I think that its depiction of the first thing that comes to mind is Philip Seymour Hoffman's character.
I don't think it's making fun of him.
No.
Yo, we actually had that conversation because you said the scene after he like kisses Mark.
Yeah, when he's like, "I'm a fucking idiot."
People were laughing.
People in my screening were laughing. I was sitting there. I was like, "This is so sad." Like I teared up a little first time watching because we've all been there in a moment where you feel like an idiot after someone rejects you, and you sit there and you have like a cry about it to yourself. And I think it's a very I think the music choice in that whole New Year's Eve segment in particular is really stellar because they don't pick necessarily sad or upbeat music. They just pick this kind of like, it's like, do your thing.
Well,
like it just kind of is in the background. And I think the way it is kind of distant in the background for that part too makes you feel like you're sitting outside the party and you just got your heart broken a little bit and you're having a cry about it.
Yeah. Like, I can understand the reaction of laughing to that moment. Not because I actually think it's that funny. I think it is so uncomfortable. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's performance and the repetition of like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like we've all like had that, been there.
Yeah.
And so like having that relation to that moment, I think adds an element of adds a laugh or adds a break in that tension with a laugh.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can understand laughing at that moment. That being said, it is also at the same time devastating.
Yeah. Like, and I think you could argue, I don't think they're saying that it's funny that he's gay. I think they're saying it's funny that he's like so obvious, and yet Mark Wahlberg's character not picking up on it at all.
Not at all.
Dirk doesn't pick up on it at all.
I also think, when did this movie come out?
97.
97. I think like his reaction to being kissed by him is for the time.
I agree with that.
For 1979.
Like honestly, really.
He's like, why would you do that, Scotty?
And like that. He's not like mad. He's just so thrown off, and he's like frustrated.
Yeah. And then he's like,
but he's not
okay,
like hitting
Scotty.
him, and he's like, it's okay, let's go back. Come on, let's go back. And he's not like.
He's trying to end the situation. He's not trying.
Yeah, he's not trying to be mean and like, you know what I mean. That I liked about it, where I was like, wow, for 97, this is like a really good depiction of a healthy reaction. Again, for the time period.
Well, and then they show like genuine violent homophobia later.
Yeah.
So I think. I don't know, not to be like, a director should state his political beliefs in every movie he makes, because that would be stupid. But I think you can tell, also as a bisexual and a member of the LGBTQ community, I think it's a very...
Why did you sound like the computer from The Incredibles just then?
LGBTQ community, deceased. What does the computer do in The Incredibles? It's like... Deceased.
No. It's where he's where it's the one where he's in the ship and it's like telling him about where he's like landing on the island.
Yeah.
That's what you sounded like to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
for giving that to me.
You're welcome.
That made my life better. So as a member of the LGBTQ community,
I think it's a very tender, like genuinely nuanced portrait of a gay person in a way that he's just existing as a gay person. It's not like
I would argue like that he is one of the more one-dimensional characters, though.
100%.
Yeah,
he's way more on the periphery than half the other characters. But
like, I would throw him in the group with like Luis de Guzman. Like, throw him that kind of like they're there, they're part of it, but they're not exactly.
Like
on
they
the
have
end.
a bit like.
Like,
I also noticed more things that Philip Seymour Hoffman's doing in the background in this movie because he's doing so
Yeah.
much background work in
So
this movie.
funny, dude.
He's so good. I love
I
that this
miss him.
started.
He's so good.
During that fight scene with him and Jack,
When he's sitting in the background,
I'm
like-
only watching Philip Seymour Hoffman being
He's
like,
so good. Like, I love that none of his clothes fit right.
Yeah.
I love that he's always pushing his hair like this, kind of like the way toddlers do it, where they kind of full hand push their hair back. I love his character. I like, and see, he's still one of the more one-dimensional characters, and you can name like 3 or 4 or 5 things about him.
this is true.
I love it. I love his entrance. I think it's one of the best entrances a character has in any movie, period, ever.
What's his entrance?
when he
When
walks in and the
Carrie, the girl with the coconut, and they're like, he's like, hey, what happened to her? And they're like, shut the fuck up, Scotty.
Yeah.
And he's like, what did I do? And he walks in and You Sexy Thing by Hot Chocolate starts playing, and then it goes on Dirk Diggler, who's not Dirk yet, he's still Eddie. But
yeah. I fucking love that scene when he's like, can you call me Dirk from now on?
can you call me Dirk from now on?
Like,
And Burt Reynolds is like,
That was a little Mike
absolutely.
Tyson that time.
That did go a little Mike Tyson. I could feel it.
And then Burt Reynolds is like,
I'm sorry.
no,
sorry.
he goes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so good.
Burt Reynolds hated this movie.
What's with people being in
Hated
this great movie and being like, I fucking hated that?
And you know what? Julianne Moore would never do that to us. She loves this movie to this day.
Queen.
Good, because it's great.
But
She's-
she's
'cause
the best of all of them. So
She really kind of is.
just in terms, like not even in terms of like performance in this movie, just in terms of everything else.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure me and Julianne Moore have the same birthday. So shout out.
slay, Virgo slay.
I'm
Libra
not
slay.
a. I'm
Libra
actually
slay.
Libra. I'm not 100. Okay. Talk. I need
talking.
to double check.
Oh, we're talking.
She's also just really phenomenal in this movie in the sense that, like, again with that motherly stuff, like the way she's coaching him during their first scene together. It's also
Yes.
like that, but
Motherly.
also,
I agree.
my other
Fuck. I was wrong.
oh,
Damn.
I don't know why I
sorry.
thought that.
My other fun fact, so a lot of people in this movie are based off real life people from the porn industry at that time.
Cool.
That tracks.
Which is funny because Dirk at one point mentions John Holmes, and John Holmes is who he's based on as a character.
Cool.
But the woman that Julianne Moore's character is based on plays the judge in that scene when she's doing the custody battle.
Oh yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so she was like, yeah, this is pretty accurate. Good job, guys. like so many people from the adult film industry like love that movie. They think it's so great. Like so many, like Little Bill's wife is played by a real adult film actress.
Yeah, it's not looking down on porn.
No.
Which is an interesting thing.
No,
which
'cause
I won't
PTA
comment
loves
on
it.
whether or not that's. I don't know if that's good or whatever. But it's not looking down on porn or people who make porn.
No.
Just like it just now dawning on me, really.
No. It's a very
No.
well, and what's also interesting is PTA said that he didn't want any of them to be particularly like self-aware about their job.
Yeah.
He didn't want any of them to be thinking like too hard about it.
All of them so thoroughly believe that it's art, that what they're making is important
Yeah.
and real. And
Buck over and over again, he's like, I'm an actor in the bank. That's one of the
Literally.
saddest scenes in this movie too, is when when they're getting like quietly more and more frustrated until they're both just like, well, what do you mean? Like, we're trying to like not be in porn,
Yeah.
clearly. And the banker is like, I'm not giving you this long
Yeah.
dog. And the banker looks kind of regretful about it, but not really.
Yeah.
I love that actress that I forget what her name is, but
Who plays?
who plays, I think her name's Jessie.
I think it is Jessie.
I think it's Jessie. She's great. She's in Magnolia. She's the love interest and the daughter of I forget who in Magnolia. She has all those scenes with John C. Reilly. She's also in Big Love on HBO, and she kills people on that show. She's
Hell yeah.
great.
Don't we all?
She's
I
great.
mean,
Her solution
what?
to being on a compound and not being allowed out of a marriage is she's like, well, then I'm poisoning people. Multiple times. Oh my God. I just realized how much I talk about this movie.
we all talk about movies.
I
a
love
lot.
this movie.
Guys, movie's good.
Boogie
It's a
Nights?
great movie.
Boogie Nights is a good
I
movie.
think it definitely needs a rewatch for me. That being said, I did really, really, really like it on the first watch.
Is
It's
it
just
one
so
that you
dense.
like feel like rewatching again soon, or is it something you want to give like a year?
I want to give
and-
it some time, I think, but I don't know if a year. I think
Yeah.
a year might sound too much.
Meg
Okay,
would like
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
cool,
think
cool.
Meg would get a lot out of this movie too.
I think so too.
Kind of can't believe she hasn't seen it.
I know, right?
It feels
It
like
feels
one.
like right-
feels like
right
one
up
that Meg
Meg's
would
alley.
really like.
Yeah.
It's also
Anyway.
like going back to the visual aspect, just one of the most gorgeous movies ever.
Yeah, I think it's really pretty.
I think it looks great.
Like, welcome back to another one of my fun facts. I wrote down a lot of fun facts that I love about this movie, but
Do you have a list of fun facts that you can pull up?
I do.
That's what we're doing after this fun fact.
Slick.
Slick.
That's slick.
Hey, Slick.
That's slick, dude.
Stop saying slick. It's not gonna happen, Gretchen.
It's not gonna happen. There's a big dead stock warehouse out in the middle of, I believe, Iowa, and that's where they got all the costumes for this movie. It's like, I think 18,000 square feet. It's a huge warehouse full of dead stock clothes that they just let.
That's dope as shit.
People, I'm like, I want to go there. Give it to me.
That is dead.
My wardrobe.
That is so picked over now.
I can't even tell you. Literally, I think a week after I saw this movie for the first time, I bought these jeans because they're technically flare. You can't really tell, but I bought so many. Like, truly, after seeing that movie, I was like, I need to be as 70s as possible in every single part of my life, because I took the wrong message from this movie, which was I should live in 1977. But no, but I just think, again, Goodfellas school. For half that movie, you're like, I could make it in the 70s. I could be really good at this. My mom's always said that I should be. She was like, you were totally at Studio 57, like wearing gold lame. Hanging out with Bianca Jagger. Like, I was like, yeah, I should have been.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right, Mom. Anyways, I'll pull up my list of fun facts.
Everybody.
There's a lot. There's so many.
Ready.
I had a cameo last week with my true crime fun fact, but I'll be able to give you more.
It came in literally right as we were recording the episode.
That's the best part. I thought I had sent that early. I thought you weren't recording yet. No, yeah, and then literally listening to the podcast, I was like, ooh, just in time.
Literally like, this just hit my desk.
Hot off the presses.
Walter Cronkite at the desk. Like, okay, so first fun fact. This PTA first made a short film when he was 17. It was a mockumentary called The Story of Dirk Diggler.
I love it.
And the guy who plays Dirk in that movie, in the short film, is the guy who Buck is selling the stereo to at the beginning of the movie.
That's cool.
When he's like, you feel that bass bumping? Like, I love that he loves cowboys in this movie. I love it
such a good detail.
So much. But yeah, also his character was, they wanted Samuel L. Jackson, but it ultimately went with Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle's so right for it.
Isn't that crazy?
There is an innocence there that I feel like wouldn't have been as upfront with Samuel L. Jackson.
Not a year after Pulp Fiction, no.
Right.
But he was almost in the big three of the 90s. He was almost in, because he's in Goodfellas, he's in Pulp Fiction, and if he had been in Boogie Nights, I mean, he would have been in PTA, Scorsese, and a Tarantino movie, all in the 90s. Which isn't to say that he had a bad 90s.
Other than that, he was pretty hit or miss.
Other than that, no. Okay.
Got a couple good ones in there, but the rest were garbage.
And then, so that's pretty much, that was one of the close calls. And then Warren Beatty, this is just off the top of my head again, but Warren Beatty was really in for Jack.
Whoa, that would have been interesting.
But they could not agree on payment.
That does not surprise me.
Couldn't agree, so Burt Reynolds got it.
That is a very interesting. That would be a very different movie with Warren Beatty, but I actually think that would have been
crazy.
Cool.
I think a lot of the alternative casting for the girl that you see the first time when you see Dirk hanging out with a girl in her bedroom and they're playing Afternoon Delight. I love this movie. She actually originally auditioned to be Roller Girl. And PTA really liked her, but he couldn't. He was like, Heather Graham is Roller Girl. There's no way.
I mean, Heather Graham is Roller Girl. Heather Graham is Roller
Girl. She's in that and Scream 2 in the same year.
Heather Graham?
Yeah. Boogie Nights and Scream 2, same year, 97.
She's in Scream 2?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah.
You've told me this multiple times. I'm believing you. I honestly don't know.
Is she in the first? Did she die first? No, because
she's one of the sorority girls.
Oh, so like kind of a more secondary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but still, like, come on now. Oh God, have I been lying? No. Oh, she plays Casey in the Stab movie. That's why.
She plays Casey in the Stab movie.
Okay, there it is.
Which you have on VHS.
I do. I have the case of Stab on VHS.
He does.
The Case of Stab sounds like its own movie.
It really does. That's the documentary on the fake movie.
That's
from
the trial that they do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's
the
what
Case of Stab.
If Stu and Billy lived, that would have been the case of Stab.
Maybe they have. You don't know.
I'm still convinced that what did Bryce pitch on the Scream 6 episode that we're leading back up to the ultimate Ghostface, which is Matthew Willard again.
Yeah.
Coming back, because I'm still not convinced he's dead.
I'm not convinced he's dead.
They literally brought it up in the last one. They literally gave it a name.
They did. And then we all petitioned them to pay beloved Queen, Nev Campbell. I almost called her Sydney.
They won't do.
Fuck. I don't. To this day, I'm still mad.
I know.
It's so annoying. It was so fun to listen to those episodes and hear you like fall in love with Scream. I was like, yes.
Dude, fucking Scream fucking rules, man.
Scream
That's
rules.
the reason Spencer and I are dating is because we were first talking on Hinge and I was like, so who's your favorite final girl? Because we had swapped letterboxes, which was him. That was him falling in love with me immediately. But I was like, who's your favorite final girl?
I have a type.
And he was like, Sydney. And then I was like, do you want to be in love?
Yeah.
At all? Soon? Now?
And then we've watched so many movies.
And then our third date was, the second time we ever saw each other, we were seeing Possession, and the third time it was Raw. So, yucky, disgusting people fall in love.
Then we watched Reanimator.
And then we watched every yucky, and then my mom's like, so, like, why? Thoughts?
It's a good time.
I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Because she literally covered her eyes when we were watching the Cowboy game. She was like, they're showing that awful Exorcist trailer again. I was like, girl.
That trailer do be spooky.
It do be The Body and the Blood?
Yeah.
The Body and the Blood?
Yes.
The Body and the Blood?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so John Holmes, like I said, is who inspired Dirk in this movie. There's a huge documentary.
Hey, I like it.
There's a really famous documentary about him called Exhausted, which if you go back, which so heavily inspired Boogie Nights that there is on the Boogie Nights Blu-ray, I believe, it is on there, and PTA does director commentary over the documentary, talking
wild.
about what, like, you can find it on YouTube too, I think, of his commentary over that. It's so crazy. And then my true crime connection, John Holmes, is connected to this series of murders called the Wonderland Murders of drug lords, which is also kind of where all the Alfred Molina stuff comes from. It's crazy.
Wild.
Crazy.
Also, shout out Alfred Molina. We love you.
He is so good in this movie. Please.
Come on the pod.
Please.
We won't make you watch Spider-Man 2.
No.
Why?
We're going to make you watch
we'll
your
talk
scene in
about
Boogie
it, but we're not going to make him watch it to be on the podcast.
No, we're going to make him watch Raiders.
Hell yeah.
Is he in Raiders?
He's the dude who dies at the very beginning of Raiders.
Of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
Movie I haven't seen?
You haven't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?
I know.
I was certainly clowning on a lot of people this week for having not seen certain movies, but I don't know that I've ever seen an Indiana Jones movie front to back. Besides Crystal
Or
Skull.
Ghostbusters.
Besides Crystal
Or
Skull.
Jurassic Park, Shane.
She hasn't seen Jurassic Park?
No.
Okay, yeah, and you were like half-ass clowning Meg because she hadn't seen Jaws?
I would never fully clown Meg.
I said
That's
half-ass.
my wife.
I did say half-ass.
That's my wife. Hey.
But, okay, all right. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll say this. I will say this. As for research for the B segment, I was looking through certain movies to make sure at least one or both of you had seen them, and there was a surprising amount of movies where I was like, "Oh, they've definitely both seen this." Where like you hadn't seen it. I was like, "How have you not seen this?"
I'm doing my best.
You are.
I didn't get into movies until like 5 years ago.
I have not seen so many movies. It's not even funny.
It's like we were talking.
I just saw
The
The Exorcist like a week ago.
And you loved it.
And I loved it.
And you loved
I
it.
hadn't seen any Scream movies until October.
Wow.
Well,
That's a you
November.
problem.
Or did we? It doesn't
We
matter.
watched them in October. The episodes came out in November.
Yeah.
They came out. I thought they came out. No, I'm thinking of the Scream 6.
Yeah.
Scream 6
came
out
later.
when-
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a
You know-
bunch
you
of
know
movies that I
time.
haven't seen, so
You
I
know,
cannot.
time, that thing that
You know
is a
time.
construct and always moves.
So again, that scene in the mockumentary within the movie that Amber Waves makes.
Yes.
The scene where he's like, Jack is great. He lets me block all my own sex scenes, blah, blah, blah. And the chick's like, I don't let him do all his, I don't let him block.
Could you cut the
Could you
scene
cut
where
that?
he...
That is directly from the documentary where John Holmes is like, he lets me block my own sex scenes. The director's like, I don't let him do that. I don't let him do
awesome.
that. Like, that's so funny. He's like, I'm an improver. And the director's like, no, he is not. He
That
is
is
not.
so funny.
It's so good. Like, so much of this, again, I cannot stress enough that PTA lifted so much from this that he does a director's commentary over the documentary. The only scene they reshot for this entire movie is the first scene where Jack and Eddie meet. It's the only one. Don't know why. But also, speaking of that moment, when at the end of that opening oneer, when Jack sees Eddie for the first time, there are literal stars hanging behind Eddie.
Oh, that's so funny.
Literal stars.
Amazing.
He's literally like,
PTA was like, something's missing.
hang that back there.
He's the star.
Production design back, like literally, it's so good. If you look very carefully in the background of that scene at New Year's where Floyd, that's his name, Floyd Gondoli, that's the name of the guy who owns all the theaters, and he comes into the party with like 4 random teenagers, and he's like, these are the fresh faces of new American porn.
I saw that. Like,
that's a tween.
They're all like pimple faced.
It's
like
so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But you notice the Colonel is like cry laughing in the background because he kept breaking. They could not get him to stop. They could not get him to stop because Floyd Gondoli says everything like like he says everything like that, but he'll be saying the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. So if you keep looking in the background, the Colonel is laughing. The guy that plays the Colonel, very close friends with PTA's dad. Very, very close friends with PTA's dad. And so he was actually
Nepo dad friend.
And he's in the OG, The Story of Dirk Diggler, as Burt Reynolds' character, as Jack.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wild. Oh my God.
There are so many little things. Like PTA so clearly loves to steal from himself, which I think is like very smart. That's fun. As a writer myself who steals from myself all the time, no one can stop you. It's you.
Yeah.
Who cares? But also after, so you'll notice like the Colonel has his limo driver. After he goes to prison, his limo driver becomes Jack's limo driver. It's another one of the fun little background details of that movie.
Amazing.
Jack was like, you want to come drive my car? And he's like, are you going to keep teenage girls in the back? And he's like, no. And he's like, cool, great, I'll come. How much? Like, that's another thing that you notice more and more every single time I watch this movie, the younger and younger the Colonel's girlfriends look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every single time. The first girl, she pops out and you're like, that looks like a 15-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm. I keep getting older and they keep getting younger.
It's so bad. And they just kind of are all like, oh yeah. She's like, will there be some Coke at this party? One of my favorite line deliveries ever.
Amazing.
Is there going to be Coke at this party? It's great. It's great. This movie's great.
Guys, good movie.
One of the deleted scenes, the very first night at Hot Tracks, to cement the fact that Little Bill, William H. Macy's character, is like the butt of every joke in his life. He has a parking ticket and nobody else does. Everybody parked around him doesn't have a parking ticket. He has a parking ticket.
Okay, I love that. That's hilarious.
It's so great.
Shout out William
He's
H. Macy.
so good in this movie. And the painting of him at the end is right where he shot himself.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So fucking dark.
I did notice that.
It is so bad. It's so bad. The first AD of this movie said that Paul Thomas Anderson baited Burt Reynolds the day before they shot that backyard fight scene where him and Dirk have a fight. To the point where apparently the first AD is like, oh, PTA and Burt Reynolds were getting into a huge fight and like genuinely almost threw hands at each other.
Oh, shit.
And he is implying that PTA did that on purpose to make Burt better in that scene. I don't know why you would need to bait Burt Reynolds into method acting, but
some people do crazy shit. I don't,
Again, maybe there are a lot of good things about some like fresh-faced 26-year-old making a movie like this, but also
then sometimes you get shit like that.
Sometimes
that
you
wasn't necessary.
Like we were talking about like the father and son behavior of Dirk and Jack in this movie. The real life parallel of Burt Reynolds and PTA, very much not like that at all.
Yeah.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds hated that movie. He didn't let it, like, he got a big career boost and he basically rejected it. Didn't want it at all. Anyways, my final one.
I just like, but why? Like,
it's stupid.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I could probably find a reason why fucking Marky Mark doesn't like it because he's quite devout at this point.
He's a very devout Catholic at this point.
So it's like that. I can understand why you would have moral issues with depictions in this movie. But at the same time, you are who you are on the back of this movie.
Which brings me to my final fun fact that there's a literal song called Boogie Nights that this movie is named after. But they were not allowed to use the song Boogie Nights because the lead singer of the band that made Boogie Nights was a born-again Christian and did not want this movie to be associated with the song whatsoever.
Hell yeah.
Of course.
There goes. That was all my fun facts.
I love all your fun facts.
Thank you. I care about this movie so much. I feel like I know everything about this movie, but I don't. I'm sure there's like, I still have yet to watch the director's commentary. Yeah. Which is a habit I wish I was in.
I bet that would be a great director's commentary.
That'd be a good one, yeah.
I believe there's one with just him, and there's one with him and Mark Wahlberg.
Always watch the one with just the director first.
I'm not interested in what Mark Wahlberg has to say in
the Seven. I talk about Seven a lot on this podcast. The Seven commentary is like ruined by Morgan Freeman.
Why?
Because it's Morgan Freeman alone, and then it's Brad Pitt and David Fincher together.
Oh.
And then during really interesting scenes, they're just talking. It's Morgan Freeman like talking about poetry or just rambling about something random. And I'm like, I really would love to know what Fincher has to say about this scene. Drives me nuts. Now there's like 4 commentary tracks on that.
There's like a bunch of tracks.
Yeah, so I need to watch one of the other ones, but that one is not great. It's not my favorite. It has some good stuff, but it's not my favorite.
Pretty sure there's one with Cronenwith. I believe I've listened to that one.
That would be a cool one. I should listen to that one. Because I really like Fincher commentary tracks. I've listened to a bunch of them.
Yeah.
He's great. He does them right, I think. Anyway.
He needs to do one for Mindhunter. A show that apparently he hates.
Mindhunter season 3.
He needs to make Mindhunter. Hopefully the killer comes out and just bangs and they're finally let him do it.
Mindhunter season 3, I'm calling the cops on you.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Guys, it's not
dead.
happening. Guys, it's not happening.
It's so sad, but it's dead. Anyway. On to the B segment.
The B segment.
The B segment.
Okay. This movie famously has a very large cast.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are really large.
A very famous, very large cast filled with a bunch of A-list actors. So I'm going to give you a cast, and I'm going to have you guess what the movie is.
Okay.
So guess the movie based off the cast.
Okay.
Y'all may not individually have seen all of these, but at least one of you have seen. One of you has at least seen.
Do we need to buzz in?
No.
No?
I don't think this is.
No, it's not a competition.
Would you like to make it one?
No.
No.
Because I would win.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So I have 5 movies prepared.
Okay,
Perfect.
cool.
We're starting with the first one.
Perfect.
Jason Schwartzman, Brandon Routh.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yep. Fuck off. I knew Brandon Routh would give it away, so I literally considered skipping Brandon Routh.
You're like, skip it. Well, then you say like Anna Kendrick, and I'm like, oh, Scott Pilgrim.
All right. On to movie number 2. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore.
Magnolia.
Good guess. No. John Turturro. John Goodman. Did I already say John Goodman?
Mm-mm.
Jeff Bridges.
Big Lebowski.
Yep.
Dang it. I
haven't even seen that.
I was just thinking. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It's a good one. I watched it just recently. Go watch the podcast. Go watch the multiple podcasts we did about
Deacons ones.
Yeah. All right. On to movie number 3. Owen Wilson, Tilda Swinton, Leah Seydoux. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Saoirse Ronan, Edward Norton.
The French Dispatch?
No.
Ah, shit.
Jude Law.
Is it Midnight in Paris?
Nope. Jeff Goldblum. Willem Dafoe. Adrian Brody.
Is it Asteroid City?
Nope. F. Murray Abraham.
Isle of Dogs?
Nope.
Is it a Wes Anderson?
Maybe. Tony Revolori.
Fuck, yeah, no, it's the Grand Budapest Hotel. Damn
yes,
it.
it is.
I haven't
Damn
seen
it.
that.
That's so embarrassing. It's great. Grand Budapest Hotel's great.
I'm very lucky.
That was one of the ones where I was like, you haven't seen. That was one of the ones that I saw.
Yeah, that's Breck coded.
That's so Breck coded.
I know. I think the only Wes Anderson movie I've seen is Asteroid City.
Wild. Really?
You haven't seen Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
That's the
Oh, I'm lying. Moonrise Kingdom. I've seen
there
Moonrise
you go.
Kingdom.
Okay,
and
that
Asteroid
is
City.
the most Breck coded movie.
He's like, your girlfriend stabbed me with lefty scissors. He's like, she's actually my wife now. So, as a left-handed person, that was really for me. It is Breck coded in many ways.
It's very Breck coded. Are you ready for number 3 or number 4? Excuse me.
I'm very ready for number 4.
Christopher Maloney, David Hyde Pierce, H. John Benjamin, Joe Lo Truglio.
That's Bob Burger.
Elizabeth Banks, Bradley Cooper, Amy Poehler.
Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes, it is. That is the wildest cast of any movie ever.
You
None of those people ended up being famous. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Sucks. That Amy Poehler could have had a real career.
Yeah. Bummer.
Bummer.
H. John Benjamin is in that?
H. John Benjamin
Bob
is in
the
that
Burger?
movie. Bob the... I think he has a single line.
That's kind of hysterical, honestly.
Yeah. Christopher Maloney is also phenomenal in that movie.
What do I know him from?
He's Law and Order.
Law and Order.
He's Law and Order SVU. He's Daddy Law and Order.
I've never watched an episode of Law and Order.
You know who I'm talking about. If I showed
If
you a
you
picture,
saw
you'd be
a
like,
picture.
oh, it's that guy.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Yep.
Got it.
Got the mental picture.
I did.
And the last one is Jason Robards, John C. Reilly, Julianne Moore, Alfred Molina, William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Is it Boogie Nights?
It's Magnolia.
It's Magnolia.
Damn.
It's like
Magnolia.
the same cast.
It's Magnolia.
It's wild how
The
similar
best
that
part-
cast is.
I didn't like love Magnolia, but I remember so much of it because I watched it so recently. And then we started Barry, and the very first monologue that Barry ever sees Sally do in Barry is Julianne Moore being like, "And give me my pills. I'm sick and I need them." Like from Magnolia, which is like the fact that they're trying to, it so sets up that class and all those characters because that scene is so good. I think Julianne Moore is the best performance in that entire movie. And it's so good. That's just an aside. Maybe I do like Magnolia.
Hey, guys, we're learning things here today. We're
Full
learning
circle.
about ourselves.
I just get really distracted by the fact that Tom Cruise is like a pickup artist incel in that movie. Well, he's not an incel.
In that movie?
In that movie? Oh my
Air
God.
5. Woo! That was
Oh
fucking
my
great.
God. No, he's just like his character.
Level up, dude.
Oh my God. That movie's good. Maybe I changed my mind. William H. Macy's really good in that too. I love that he plays like a kid who was like every character in that movie is like a different person.
Yeah.
Which is hard sometimes. No, that's not always the case in every movie.
There we go.
There we go.
There you go.
Recommendations?
Recommendations.
What about
Recommendations. Ah!
Recommendations? Oh, we do. Do you have your fourth filmmaker?
Oh yeah, your Mount Rushmore.
I was really trying hard to think of a woman. I feel like I maybe have failed me as a feminist.
I think the film industry just failed you.
Yeah, I don't think that's your fault
I like
or
a lot
women's
of
fault.
one-off films from a lot of female directors.
Yeah.
But then they'll make another
pop off and make a great one, and then the industry forgets about them.
Yeah, there's so few. Like,
or they're Olivia Wilde, or like
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes you make Booksmart and then you make Don't Worry Darling.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or like I wanted to be like, oh, Karen Kusama, but I've only seen Jennifer's Body. Like a failure.
Well, do you think you have one though?
I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be David Lynch, Paul Thomas Anderson, Martin Scorsese, and then I'm gonna have to round it out with Damien Chazelle, I think.
Whoa.
Hey, cool.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
cool
have,
one.
I mean, La La Land is just one of my favorites.
He's made 3 bangers, depending on how you feel about Babylon, which I think is wonderful and great.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say First Man, and I was about to violently defend First Man.
Well, that's why 3. I have not seen First Man. I have no. Yeah.
That movie is so great. It is one of the quietest Ryan Gosling performances, but he does so much and fills the space so much.
I will have to watch it soon. I'm
What's a
excited
Bucket
about
is really great.
I'll
Is it
fill
Claire
his
Foy? Or?
space.
Claire Foy.
Claire Foy. I always want to call her Felicity, but that's the other one.
Felicity Jones.
Yeah, the other one. Everyone is so great.
That's a good 4.
What's everybody else's Mount Rushmore?
It's a secret for the podcast.
Okay, cool. My
Only
bad.
the guest has it. Mine, David Fincher, Steven Spielberg. Oh, damn. Denis Villeneuve, probably.
Fuck off.
Sorry.
Ours is gonna be exactly the same.
I know. I don't know who my 4 would be.
You're besties.
I don't think I'm putting Spielberg in mine.
I'll give an interesting one that I don't know if it's like
Yeah, you're Teddy Roosevelt.
my Teddy Roosevelt. James Mangold.
That's a good, solid.
You know what? Do I think he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time? No.
Yes, you do.
What?
Yes, you do.
I talk about him a lot. I really like so many of his movies, and I like a lot of his like watch his director commentaries for any of his movies, and he gets so poetic and so sentimental about the character and how everything comes from character. I really like. I've learned a lot from watching his movies and hearing him talk about storytelling, and I find a lot of myself in that. And he's the kind of filmmaker I would like to be, where it's like I don't have a set style. Each movie tells me what it wants to be. Like that's what I want to do.
I like it.
So that may be my 4 right now.
I need to figure mine out.
Wow.
So it's definitely Fincher. I know I'm boring.
It's not boring. He makes great movies.
He does. He makes
Why would
great
it be boring?
movies.
He made Gone Girl.
Gone definitely
Girl.
Fincher. Definitely Denis. Ooh, the Coen brothers.
Yeah, that's very you.
The one of them where they're just conjoined twins and they're just the one. No,
They're
I was trying to make it.
I like truly like. I like because they've done so few things separately that I'm just combining them because like they sometimes co-direct, but usually it's Joel. But like it is them who I love, not just Joel's direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so
The board's allowing it.
Fincher, Villeneuve, Coens, and Guillermo del Toro.
See, and
for the fourth pick.
Del Toro genuinely would be my to take Mangold out. Del Toro would be, but Mangold's a weird.
I think Del Toro is. I think that's slightly outside of the box. Like I don't think every single person on the planet's going to say.
Well,
Del
look,
Toro.
I am Captain Slut of the Spooky Boys, his fan club.
As you've been known.
Yeah, I am like in love with that man.
Wow.
I know. I'm sorry, baby. It's okay.
Get out of here!
I know. And in comes Del Toro.
Guillermo.
Spencer would break up.
Totoro.
Get Guillermo del Toro on the pod.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. You love me.
I don't know if y'all probably know this. I'm going to say it on the pod anyway because I think it's hilarious and adorable. The little girl in Pacific Rim. I don't know if she didn't know his name or couldn't pronounce it, but she called him Totoro-san instead of like Guillermo, or you know what I mean. They called him because he's
big like Totoro.
He's adorable. He's a big soft.
Like Totoro.
I love Del Toro. That's a great. I literally can't believe I would have forgotten. But Del Toro's up there for me. God, I love him so much.
Yeah.
Which of his movies haven't you
the
seen?
Bestie.
A lot.
His early stuff, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen Devil's Backbone.
Have you seen Crimson Peak?
I have not. I really want to.
That movie's great.
Dude, that is one of those movies where it's like, I have done this at least 5 times. I've seen it on Netflix. I have gone to the page, hovered over the play button and go, I'm just not in the mood today. Like,
you should always be in the mood for
I
Crimson
know.
I just bought
that has 3 career all-timer performances in that entire movie.
Yeah.
I just bought the Arrow video versions, and now whenever you watch it,
oh,
watch
sick!
It on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
it's such a
sick.
Good, it's
okay,
such
I'm a
good
bad
release.
influence. I told him to do it. So
yeah.
Am I a bad influence though, or am I investing in my future movie collection?
But you're also making him. You're losing his investment in his own money future.
No, I don't think of it like that. I think of it as we're both buying movies separately. We're like, well, this is my movie, and then one day it will be our movie.
Yeah.
But
adorable.
Anyway.
Adorable.
Now recommendations.
I also haven't seen his newest one, Alley, or not his
Nightmare Alley.
Alley.
Man,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
one of 5
before-
people who saw that movie in the theater.
I saw that in theaters.
I wanted to so bad.
It was so good.
I'm telling you,
I've heard like mixed things. I've heard some people really, really love it, and then some
I
people are
love
just
parts
like,
of it, and other parts I'm not as into. Okay,
wait, hold on. What are each of your individual thoughts on The Shape of Water?
Great movie.
I love The Shape of Water.
Okay, all right, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know because they seem very stylistically similar, so I didn't know if that would like affect. I was just interested. I don't know anything about. I know nothing about.
I think Nightmare Alley is just a little long. Like it's a little.
It's
and
long.
I you know what? There apparently there's a rumor that it's going to come to Criterion, so the Criterion will have the original and the remake. Yeah,
It's a remake
Nightmare
of
Alley's in the Criterion
it's a
collection.
film noir.
It's from the 40s.
I don't think I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're pretty different. But it is the same like
I think you
circus and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely I read that there's a point in the remake where that's where the movie just like ends in the first one, and then there's like I think 20 to 30 more minutes.
Yeah. But apparently there's going to be a black and white because there was a black and white version of the movie screened at some point, and apparently they're working on the black and white of Nightmare Alley. So I really want to wait till that hopefully comes out.
That would be
because y'all talked about movies you'd like to see in black and white on the pod.
That would be a great one to see.
I would be like, ooh, Nightmare Alley.
That's a great one.
And Shape of Water.
But yes,
Shape of Water would be. Oh, the color of that movie's so nice though.
I know.
I know.
Oh boy, howdy.
That has one of my favorite silent moments in any movie ever. When she's doing the hand gesture for Octavia Spencer's like, well, how? And she's like.
Yeah, I know what you're about to do. Very good.
I saw that at the defunct AMC. That is my college town. We drove by it the other day and they turned it into a church.
Wild.
Hey, for me, a movie theater is a place of worship.
I actually do stand by that. Yeah,
I do stand by that. I miss that movie. It was we called it the Busted AMC, but they always had all the time their student discount was $5 regardless of the day.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I saw so many movies there.
Dude. Growing up, there was a theater called it was the Hollywood.
The Dollar Theater?
The Dollar Theater, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've seen so many movies in that theater.
50 Cent Tuesdays?
They
50 Cent Tuesdays.
Dude, They only played 50 Cent music in there. Tuesday. It was wild.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
But anyway, oh god, that fucking ad.
I know.
I'm so glad they're not playing it anymore. I'm afraid if I even bring it up anymore,
they're gonna come back.
Alamo was doing $2 or whatever, $5 Tuesdays or whatever.
$7 Tuesday. It used to be $5 and then it was $5.50 and now it's $7.
The freaking ad that they played before every single movie was very annoying. It was fine the first time, and then like after the second time, you're like, I could never listen to this again and be the happiest person.
We also go to the movies a lot. Like that's part of it. But
at the same time,
to the point where Spencer and I look at each other and make eye contact and can recite the entire thing for the Alamo. It's like
Tuesday.
Respect your phone goers around you and be excellent to each other. They should hire me.
I miss the old one.
I know.
The more serious one.
Yeah. We've done this on the pod before. Recommendations.
I will go first.
He's going first.
Breck and I are doing a themed month in September, and it is Schlocktember.
Are you recommending your own shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be proud enough and shameless enough to recommend your own things, Jim.
Yeah. I love that.
So we're watching just a bunch of mostly water-based creature feature schlock movies.
Love it.
We've had extensive conversations about what constitutes a B movie as well, which is why we're not calling it B movies anymore.
It's hard. But we have a few in there to break up the water-based one to add some variety.
Man cannot live on water alone.
True. So I'm recommending Tremors because that was the last one we watched.
That's a good one.
Mine.
Oh, sorry. We're co-recommending Tremors. And I think
I've got like 5 things to recommend, so I'll fill in.
I know.
Anyway, so we're both recommending Tremors. Kevin Bacon is so hot in that movie.
He is kind of a bisexual legend in that movie. They both are. Both of the main characters are walking around the desert in their like little Canadian tuxedo. Get out of here.
And it's got a lot of fun practical effects.
Shirt. The practicals in that movie.
Slay.
Yeah. Bring back practical effects.
I've seen like 70% of that movie in 15 different viewings.
It is just a bucket of fun.
Yeah, that movie looks like a blast. Yeah.
I also have the Arrow video version of it.
And Reba's in it. And Reba's in it. The credits song.
Fucking Reba!
Reba's in it.
Who's on The Voice now.
Anyway.
They got Reba and Niall Horan on The Voice, which means I might actually watch The Voice.
Niall Horan's in your ear. Do you know what I'm quoting?
No.
Shout out to Megan. You're going to laugh when you hear that one.
I hope you laugh, Meg.
All right.
Go on.
He's you don't want him in there, but he is in there.
Just change recommendations.
So friend of the pod Dylan has been recommending a particular creator. It's like, okay, he has cornered the fucking market of phenomenal video essays to the point where they are series and documentary length. This man's name is John Boyce, and he makes literally the best documentaries/documentary series on sports ever. Like, fuck NFL films, fuck any other shit. Like, John Boyce makes the best documentaries about sports ever. Because I think he's still working for SB Nation, now known as Secret Base. But he has been making these incredibly in-depth documentaries about very specific teams or very specific people or very specific names in sports. So a few particular standouts that I have watched that I have loved are The Bob Emergency, which is literally a series on sports legends named Bob, and how there are, year by year, there are fewer and fewer people in sports named Bob. And like, you can literally, it shows you the graph of the people named Bob in sports. It's fascinating. And like it's kind of like a silly idea, but then there are some legitimately phenomenal sequences. There's a sequence specifically about Bob Gleason, who is an Olympic long jumper, and his, like, I'm literally getting chills thinking about it now. That moment in, I think it's the first episode, is like phenomenal. Highly recommend it. The other two that I do highly recommend, he's got a lot of kind of shorter ones as well that I've seen. Like the worst punt in the NFL, or the search for the worst punt in the NFL or something like that. The two particular standouts there are the history of the Seattle Mariners. Absolutely
I've heard of that
phenomenal.
one.
Absolutely phenomenal. That's why. And the other one is the history of the Atlanta Falcons. And specifically, the very last episode of that series is about the history of the Atlanta Falcons and going in depth on the 2016 Super Bowl Patriots v Falcons and how it has a lot of weird and important cultural connections to the 2016 election. It's absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I mean, because it's very much this like big, expensive New York powerful team against the Atlanta Falcons that come, from Atlanta, you know what I mean? It's like there's this very like big kind of two cultural powerhouses coming up against each other. And it's like for so many people, they were like, all right, well, we didn't win that one, but maybe we can win the Super Bowl, baby. And it's absolutely fascinating. And there's like interviews from other people who work at SB Nation, like kind of who are also Falcons fans, talking about their experience, like as a Falcon fan throughout the years, but specifically like during that game. Absolutely phenomenal. I cannot speak highly enough about John Boyce and the work that he's doing right now. I don't know if it just finished or it's about to finish, but it's the history of the Minnesota Vikings is coming out. Absolutely phenomenal. Like the way that he is able to tell such insane and beautiful human stories through not only just sports, but then through the statistics. Like there are so many fascinating statistics that he can pull. Absolutely phenomenal. Cannot wait to continue watching. I think the next one I'm watching is, I think it's called Captain Mayhab, the story of Dave Steeb. I can't remember. I'm going to watch that soon. I'm pretty sure that one's Dylan's favorite. So very excited. Highly recommend John Boyce and the work that he does on SB Nation or Secret Base.
Slay.
There we go.
Fucking slay.
Awesome.
You just took us to church.
I could go on way longer, but I saw Spencer check his phone for the time. It was like, I got to wrap this shit up.
All I got to say is, who watches documentaries anymore?
Who watches YouTube? Idiots.
We walked in on you watching the Bob one.
You walked in during the Bob Gleason segment.
I want specifically the Atlanta Falcons one. I really want to watch. That sounds fascinating.
It's literally like 4 hours.
I know. Yeah, I'll just invest.
No, it's like 6.5.
Oh God, never mind.
It's so fucking long.
You watch 3 movies in a day. You could watch.
I could watch 5 movies in a day,
it's in 7 like 45-minute chunks.
No, I'll watch it. I'm super in. I think that sounds awesome.
It's so good.
I've heard you and Dylan talk about him so much, so I'm deeply interested.
You guys are smart. I'll watch things that smart people watch.
Well, Shane's smart.
I like you,
Dylan doesn't listen to the podcast.
I don't know. Funny thing is, he really does.
Oh, damn it.
He's brought up.
Dylan, I'm so sorry.
Dylan,
I love you.
I love you. That's why
I know, buddy. I love you.
I opened this up with friend of the pod.
I love you, Dylan.
No, please. I'm sorry.
My recommendation.
This is the one he's not going to
Didn't you recommend Tremors with me?
Yeah, but
give her own.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
God,
dude,
you're trying to take her, man.
Can I recommend a movie that's 50 years old?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to be like, everyone should go watch 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
Fucking do it.
Am I allowed? So seeing that in a theater for the first time.
Yeah.
Kind of one of the craziest things that's ever happened.
We just went and saw Alamo's doing Kubrick's movies
all September.
So
our September is either we're watching a schlocky movie or we're going to see one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah. The dichotomy of it.
It's pretty cash. So we saw, and so our screening of 2001, you might have mentioned this on the Exorcist one. Did you? Probably.
I can't remember.
But so we got to see it where no pre-show, no trailers, just the overture and a black screen before the movie started. Intermission that was like 10 minutes long. No really credits at the end, just black screen like outro. It was awesome. Kind of one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. Everyone in that theater was like so respectful to the point where the silence that's supposed to be deafening was actually deafening.
Yeah.
Like I was like, can
That's
someone
sick.
please make noise? Like I'm kind of not even kind of uncomfortable. That movie just made me uncomfortable.
I love that.
I just loved it. It was so good. It's so fun to watch a movie that people have already loved for so long.
Yeah.
And then you can go find all these other people and they're like, it is really great. And you're like, it is really great.
Yeah.
My dad's so like tickled by it. He's like, yeah, I'll come home and be like, yeah, I saw that movie in theaters.
Like,
I'm not you, Dave. Like, my dad will be like, yeah, I liked Pulp Fiction so much. I went back and saw it the next day. You know how it is. And I was like, I wasn't alive yet. I wouldn't be alive for another 3 years. Dave.
I wasn't even a twinkle in your eye yet,
I was
Dave.
like, you had a 4-year-old. I don't know what else to tell you. You just left him at home?
Pop off!
No, what he was doing is showing Jake, my older brother, he was showing him Blues Brothers on the TV, and then he went to go take him to a screening of it, and then he was like, oh, I forgot that I've been showing my son the TV version of this movie, because there's so much in it that they cut for TV.
That's freaking hilarious.
Anyways, 2001, Tremors, that's our co-recommendation.
Bars.
Reba's so great in it. Just so great in it.
Love Reba.
Oh God, what else have I watched lately? I can't like in good conscience recommend Full Metal Jacket, but I have been thinking about it a lot.
Why can't you?
Because it's a really great movie.
Uh-huh.
It's just depressing.
Yeah.
It's just depressing. I like depressing things.
It's a film podcast.
Full
By
Metal
nature,
Jacket.
it's depressing.
That is not true. That is not true. Take pride in your work.
Pop off.
It's just great. I keep flashing back to the fact that they'll say like 5 slurs in 30 seconds, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, this is a really good movie though.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket, great. Like what else? Like blanket Breck recommendations. By the time this episode comes out, there'll be a new Mitski album called The Land Is Inhospitable.
Pre-recommending that.
Pre-recommending. Because the singles I've heard from it are just phenomenal. It's called The Land Is Inhospitable and So Are We. Mitski, please come on the pod.
Mitski.
She was on Hannibal Buress's pod. She would be on any pod at this point. Not at this point. She doesn't like going out in public. But Mitski, come on the pod so I can meet you and talk to you about your artistic process. But yeah, blanket recommendations.
Hannibal Buress, come on the pod.
Please. Twin Peaks, since I mentioned David Lynch so much in this. Blue Velvet, phenomenal movie. Eraserhead, certainly a film. It's a great movie. I love Eraserhead.
Whoa, shots fired.
Eraserhead, baby, is my co-pilot. I love that movie. It's just not everybody's cup of tea. Spencer liked it. I like it. Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, but only if you've seen Twin Peaks. Yeah. Blanket Breck recommendations.
Good recommendations.
Jersey Shore, if you like Shakespearean conflict. Who wrote the note? You too. It's great. I don't know. What else do I like? Do I like things?
You just named a lot of really good stuff, I think.
You named so many things.
Okay.
Like, he recommended Tremors, and I was like, watch 50 hours worth of documentaries. And you were like, watch all these movies.
Yeah, I was like, you need to watch every David Lynch movie ever.
I have not seen a single David Lynch anything. I've never seen a single minute
You'll
of
see me
David
back
Lynch.
in the pod in 3 months when I'm showing Shane Blue Velvet.
Which has got my face shoved up against the screen. Watch it!
Look at Kyle MacLachlan.
Look at it!
Laura Dern's first ever film role is in that movie.
Literally?
Yeah, it's her first ever role. She's like 17, 18 in that movie.
I did not know that.
She's great. She's the only person that David Lynch was the only person she ever broke her nudity clause for because he was the director that she's felt the most safe around her entire life.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, Wild at Heart.
King.
Not my favorite David Lynch movie, but her and Nick Cage are great in that. They're crazy in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm not recommending Wild at Heart. I don't love that movie, but
I am recommending Laura Dern.
I am always recommending Laura Dern.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. I was going to be like the gay choir going, Laura Dern.
Very nice.
Cool.
We have so many things to